folks. This is Quarantine Tonight on News Channel Nebraska. Good evening. I'm Austin Haygood, your host for the next 2 hours of nothing but sweet sounds for your ears. You've hit the right channel. Don't change it. We're going to take a break. We're going to have a blessing, and then we're going to get on with the show with Kevin and Heidi Cheng. But first, a blessing.
I'm Pastor Peter Sample. I have the privilege of serving in Calvary Bible Church in Neely, Nebraska. Will you pray with me? Father, in this time of uncertainty, we ask that you would give us peace. Your word says that you are the good Father that gives us what we need, so we ask that you give us peace. Calm those who are anxious with your presence. Give those without hope the assurance of your plan. Pour out your wisdom on our leaders that they would direct us correctly. I pray especially for Governor Ricketts and President Trump that you would strengthen them to lead according to truth, not according to politics. Oh Lord, please give us peace. As the numbers of COVID cases continue to rise, we ask that you would stop the spread of this disease just as you've done for so many other diseases. For those with mental illness who have lost their means of coping, Father, please be their strength. You've promised to never leave us or forsake us, so remind those who hurt internally of this truth. And Lord, more than all of this, I pray that you would use the uncertainty of these times to draw the hearts of America to you, that people would place their trust in you for this life and the one to come, not their trust in governments, not in policies, not in health, not in changed society, but in you and in you alone, through faith in the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. And we pray these things in his name, the name of Jesus. Amen.
Well, thank you very much, and welcome back to Quarantine Tonight. Tonight's guests, Kevin and Heidi Cheng. Guys, welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
So, what do we have in store tonight?
We have love music throughout the ages, so we're going to touch on a lot of different genres. It's going to go everything from Disney stories to popular to some of the really old classics. So,
fantastic.
Yes.
Nothing but love all night long. The
That's
Valentine's
right.
Day special.
That's right.
I love it. All right. Move in close on those couches. Get nice and warm next to each other. Fill up that bowl of guacamole and get ready for the best night of your life here on News Channel Nebraska. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin and Heidi Cheng.
Thank you so much, Austin. So good to be back with you in February. Kevin and I enjoyed being with you last Christmas and sharing some of the best of Christmas. We've been a lot of places here, there, and everywhere. We just got back from Arizona. So, but actually it wasn't too bad coming back here. It's nice and warm for this time of year. So, yes, as I mentioned, we're going to start off with the popular love music and Disney tunes, to be specific. So Disney a lot of times has stories that involve a love story. Young children enjoy it, even up to my age and beyond. So enjoy these songs. This is Once Upon a Dream from Sleeping Beauty. Okay, so a classic. It's kind of old, but we've been playing for a lot of schools recently, and children will recognize definitely in a waltz format. So you're going to hear that 1 2 3 1 2 3 rhythm. And what do you know? We've heard lots of stories as we travel and perform. I don't know if we found the love story quite as interesting as ours, but some pretty similar, and a lot of them met at dances, at barn dances, at their local dance hall, on their farms or ranches. So the love stories are abundant. Everyone's is a little different, so we hope we can tell yours a little bit. Also, we'll tell ours a little bit as well. We fell in love through music, but it wasn't only music. So now we're going to continue to dive into that world of beautiful Disney music. Music tells a story even without words. If you were to strip a story or a movie, a motion picture of the music, it wouldn't have quite the same pull or impact. And so it goes with the love story. Folks, so we played that before we told you. And if there's a few young children listening in, what would that be from? That is from, I hope you guessed it, Aladdin. It's a whole new world. And again, from that perspective of a love story, seeing as a world full of opportunities and adventures, of course. Now, you might have heard, if you've watched some of our previous times that we've performed on here, you might have heard how Kevin and I met, which, yes, he was a fantastic pianist. All kinds of competitions, putting together his own symphony orchestra. Lots of impressive things that kind of drew my attention in, and I thought, ooh, I would love to get to know this guy. And then maybe you know how that story took a very interesting twist, but we're going to keep you in suspense because it's not what you imagined. It's not quite that fairy tale love story that we're portraying here with this music. And so, with that being said, here is the next one. Take a listen and a guess, if you will. Okay, can you feel the love tonight? Again, if we have a younger audience, I hope you heard that and could name that tune. Hopefully everyone who is listening could name that tune from The Lion King. Can you feel the love tonight? Well, let me tell you, when Kevin and I met, and we have been married for a little over 3.5 years, but he is a hunter. Can you believe that? He plays piano on a classical level, competitive, spent 5 hours a day practicing, but you would find him at 5 o'clock in the morning sitting on a tree stand. And so he is an impressive hunter, but I came from a family who didn't really do much of that, but we did take the venison. And so when he caught wind of this, guess what my first Valentine's Day present was? A dead buck he had hit with his car. Real romantic, right? Not what you would expect, but so the story goes. So here he is standing at my front door, and I have the choice to say yes or no. Well, you can probably already see which one I picked, but we're going to keep on going with the music and see if you can figure out what might have happened next. So here is one more from Disney known as, take a listen. All right, Beauty and the Beast, it is. Great music. If you were to analyze if classical music was still being composed, yes, it is, in settings like that. So, finishing our unique love story and then sharing some others. So, you can probably guess what happened next. I said yes to the deer and to him. So, we spent our first date cleaning a deer. Test of true love, let me tell you. And but people always ask me, why in the world did you do that? That doesn't sound attractive at all. But I tell them, it really wasn't so bad. I just got him for $1. So a pun and a play on words. Hope you're laughing a little bit and enjoying the music. We're playing just a lot of classics that have stuck around through the ages, enduring love songs. So stick with us. We're going to bring you a little bit of Richard Marx coming up next, right here, waiting for you. Okay, so we had a potential viewer request that one. I hope he's watching. Richard Marks, and an ever-enduring right here waiting for you. Now, speaking of waiting, I've heard some incredible stories, especially around the World War II era, of to-be brides who were waiting and wondering if their fiancé would come home alive. My grandma was one of those. She was attending college at the time, and my grandpa was deployed. He went to Okinawa, and so he was there more at the tail end of World War II, but then the results were somewhat unknown. Who would win the war? And she talked about that. And winning the war would be dependent also on would cause his return, my grandpa's return. So I've heard so many great stories like that, and we're going to be bringing some of those stories with you, inspiring you to remember your love story as well. Speaking of that, we have a popular selection coming that way, but can't do a bunch of classics without a little bit of Elvis Presley. So here we go.
Kevin and Heidi Cheng on Quarantine tonight. Little Elvis Presley. That's fantastic. Love it. I'm the world's biggest Elvis fan, so you've come to the right channel. All right, we are going to take a break. We're going to look at news and weather right here on NCN. Stick around. We've got more love songs for you tonight on Quarantine Tonight. Well, thank you very much, Jeff. Welcome back, folks. This is Quarantine Tonight, live at the VFW or an undisclosed location. Wait, have we disclosed the location? Yeah. Okay, very good. We're getting news from the back. We have disclosed the location. We're at the VFW here in Norfolk. All right, we are with Kevin and Heidi Cheng for the Love Hour and a half. Love Hour and a half. Hour and a half. So what else do we have on the menu tonight?
So it's going to be wedding music. So we play for a lot of weddings. And so if anyone is looking for wedding music, we're going to do a little bit of a promo of that right here.
Fantastic. Live wedding music, and I'm ordained. I mean, we could marry some people right now.
Yeah,
we could knock it out quick.
That's right.
We'll do it right now at the VFW, live on Quarantine tonight. How awesome would that be? Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin and Heidi Cheng.
Yes, and so we are scheduling for this year. If you have a wedding this year, next year, anytime, let us know. Call us at 308-293-0754. In case you didn't have a pen and paper with you, I'm going to repeat that number later on. We would love to play for your wedding and make your wedding special. So we're going to give you a few examples of what that could look at. And of course, our repertoire is not set in stone. We also take your requests, but here's a very common one. Years, one of the most common requests for weddings nowadays, of course, because why wouldn't you want to get married to your best friend other than for and telling them you love them for 1,000 years? So a good representation of a wedding, and we do weddings everywhere, from outdoor to indoor, from at your barn to at your favorite church. So we have traveled all over and are equipped to be set up for any type of event. Also for receptions, if you're just looking for background music. And not just weddings. If you're celebrating a 25th, a 50th, or 60th, 65th, even 70th wedding anniversary, we could come and provide the music for that. Again, our phone number is 308-293-0754. We would love to hear from you, and we would love to provide special music for your event. Now, there are many different requests. Of course, music for a wedding absolutely needs to be beautiful and fitting for the occasion. This has been one of the requests, kind of more out of the traditional ordinary, but nevertheless fitting, and one you will enjoy. This is the Ashokan Farewell. Ashoka and Farewell actually placed in a documentary on a Civil War talking about a love story. It was a fallen soldier who left a letter to his wife, Sarah. And he didn't know if he would fall in battle or not. But when they found him, they pulled this letter out of his pocket. And it had told him how he had loved her and always would, and how he was sad that war had to separate them. This has been the story of, well, many love stories throughout history. This one explains the music, except not originally written for the documentary, but fitting exactly with what they were trying to portray. Well, more of that wedding-type music coming your way. Of course, we're presenting the classics. A lot of people have standard requests, and we'll be getting into that next. Here is Jesu Joy of Man's Desiring. Okay, so one that's been a standard for a long time, Jesu Joy of Man's Desiring, maybe it's for how it flows, because as you know, music for the processional is important. It keeps the bride and groom and however many bridesmaids and groomsmen, well, of course, the groom will already be up at the altar, but beautiful and enjoying that Oh, again, just a few examples. You might ask, well, do you play anything country or pop? Yes, we do. We have played everything. And so whatever you pick, we can do. Now, a lot of times for the recessional, there's a very triumphant piece of music. A lot of things can fill that gap, but not everything is quite as good as what is known as the Wedding March. Before then, let's bring everyone down the aisle. This is Canon in D. So definitely the most famous. Kevin and I, being classically trained, are still trying to understand why exactly everyone picks canon in D. Well, We think because it's easy, easy to walk down the aisle to, and it follows a theme. So it's variations on a theme. The theme is slow and beautiful. It paces well. Now, we've been to many rehearsals. Usually, the wedding day's a little faster, and we can adjust to that. And so always watching and celebrating with your special day. We can't leave out what is known as the wedding march. So the happy couple have just been announced, and here we go.
Perfect song for me to walk back out to. Quarantine tonight on News Channel Nebraska. Kevin and Heidi Cheng. We've got a whole nother hour of nothing but love songs, right?
Yes.
Fantastic. More Disney. We're going to have some more Disney in the next set.
A mix of everything.
Fantastic.
Yes.
All right. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be back. What camera am I looking at? This one? Where am I looking? Up. There we go. Very good. 3.5 minutes. Stick around. We'll be right back. This is Quarantine Tonight. Very good, folks. Welcome back. Quarantine Tonight here on News Channel Nebraska. Kevin and Heidi Cheng, our guests tonight. We're doing a love show.
That's right.
And you guys do weddings.
We do.
This mic is super hot. Did you hear how loud that was?
Yes.
All right. Anyway, so now that we've blown out the speakers, tell us about, you guys are open for weddings. Let's do the number again. What's the phone number?
308-293-0754. We play for outdoor weddings, too. And that is a lot of people's choice nowadays. So.
That's right. Well, you know, I like the risk. It's Nebraska. Yeah. We'll see what happens. It could snow. There could be a tornado. Who knows? All right, folks, this is Quarantine Tonight. Kevin and Heidi Cheng, take it away.
Thank you. And we love this next section especially. Well, it's kind of one we've titled Old Love because we have heard so many stories of love stories as we've traveled around Nebraska, and I hope a few of you are watching us tonight. We have played some of these songs for you, and you've come up to us, and you have said, oh, yes, that is the song we danced to, or that was my favorite song. That is the song we listened to each other. That was the new song on the radio back then. Whatever your story was, we're going to play a lot of those older classics, so we're going to venture back in time to the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. So, and a lot of these we're going to play first and then tell you afterwards. Okay, so maybe you can finish this sentence for me. It's been a, yes, long time. An old classic. Now, here's a question for you. Do you think you can win love at the toss of a coin? Well, that's the story of my grandparents. My grandma was a beautiful singer in college, and so, of course, the guys would sit and listen. And my grandpa loved her music and loved her voice, but he was not, of course, the only one. And so, she was between two guys. Who to go out with? How do you pick? Well, the easiest way, without showing any bias, is to pull a coin out of your pocket and flip it. And so that's what happened. And guess who won? It was my grandpa. That is a true love story right here for you. Maybe that's part of your own. And so we love to tell those true stories. More to come. But here's another example of old love in a song. Now, this is from a musical known as Guys and Dolls, A Bushel and a Peck. Now, when I first played this, it was a learning curve for me because I did not know what a peck meant. And apparently back in the day, you could go to a grocery store and buy a peck of potatoes. Well, you might remember that tongue twister. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck is used there too. It was a measurement we don't use anymore. In fact, if you were to go now and ask for a peck of peppers or potatoes, they might ask you what exactly that meant. And so it was just kind of a measurement to add on top of the bushel. So I love you, a bushel and a peck. A bushel, a little full to overflowing is what that song illustrates. Well, maybe you're looking around and you're wondering what your love might look like. This is a fun one, and we'll play it for you first. I hope you were listening, and I hope you guessed that title, 5'2". Can you fill in the rest of the blank? Yes, and Eyes of Blue. Has anyone seen my girl? Okay, one of those golden oldies you just don't want to miss. So, well, way over during World War II, there was one of those 5'2" Eyes of Blue waiting, and she was from Belgium. In fact, she was born 3 miles away from Normandy Beach, and so she lived through World War II. In fact, she was an interpreter, and she met all kinds of people, from Russians to Germans, throughout the war, but she found a friendly American soldier, and well, she decided he was the right one, and apparently vice versa, and so that's how she came to be here. This is just one example of true love, and love that endured quite a lot during that time. I am sure you have plenty of stories about true love, especially when the tough times hit. That's when you can see true love. And so when we promise, of course, in our wedding vows to love each other in sickness and in health, for better, for worse, we're promising to do that for each other. And I hope we're encouraging you in your love story. Maybe you're celebrating many, many years. So let's keep on celebrating. Here is the next one. Okay, when I fall in love, it will be forever. one of those classics again, and what we promise each other. Now, what does that look like? You might be telling us now, well, that looks like going through certain periods of life, from work to moving to, well, Kevin and I work together all the time, so we're with each other. He has to put up with me all the time, and so we learn how to endure through a lot just by being together. But then life circumstances come in that are unexpected, perhaps troublesome, but true love will stick it through with God's help, and we have experienced that on so many occasions, and we've met many who are celebrating 50, 60, 65, 70 years, and they only say it gets better. So if you are maybe in your early years of marriage like we are, and you know, and you can see from those who've experienced it that it will get better. So thank you to all of those who are such good examples of love to us. And so we want this to be a tribute to you. We have met so many, and we've played for anniversaries. In fact, just a few months ago, we played for somebody's 60th anniversary. That is something to celebrate. So let us know, again, if you would like us to play for that special occasion. So let's bring a little bit of Dr. Zhivago in next. I think you'll know this one. All right, again, movies bring us great love music, as did Dr. Zhivago, also known as Laura's theme. And so maybe that we have been told that that was one of their favorites and one we wanted to play. They wanted us to play for their anniversary. So, will we be around you anytime soon? Well, if you happen to be in the Ord, Nebraska area, we're going to be at the Golden Husk this coming weekend to play pre-show music before the Valentine's movie. Also, if you are in the Lincoln area, we're going to be at Heartland Bible Church at 1 o'clock in Lincoln, Nebraska. Norfolk, we're also coming to see you next Wednesday, the 16th. So if anyone is watching in at the Meadows or at the Heritage, we will be there to see you and hopefully play some of your favorite love songs. So stay tuned with our schedule, and we'll continue to share more locations with you. But here's another classic, so take a listen.
Kevin and Heidi Cheng on Quarantine tonight right here on News Channel Nebraska. Don't go anywhere, folks. We've got another 30 minutes of nothing but love songs. Very excited about that. We're going to check in with Jeff Fox and a weather update and a few commercials here on News Channel Nebraska. All right, folks, welcome back. Quarantine tonight. We are locked and loaded for another 30 minutes of nothing but love songs with Kevin and Heidi Cheng. All right, so we're into the final 30 minutes of our broadcast here. What can we expect for the last 30?
So we're going to play again some of just those general classics. We call it old love, so some of those old love songs that have endured, but also some of those old classical love songs that's some of our passion. And so we're going to end with that. And I think it's going to be great.
Very good. I'm loving it so far. I'm loving it.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Kevin and Heidi Cheng on News Channel Nebraska.
All right, so a love story has to, well, usually involves two people. That's kind of the foundation for this next Old Love selection. Okay, T for Two, another one of those classics. Maybe you would like to hear some great love music live. Again, I mentioned last time, but will again this weekend. We are going to be at the Golden Husk in Ord, Nebraska. They're going to be showing a Valentine's movie, and it's going to be a selection of movie tunes prior to that. There's a little contest, some prizes, a great thing for the whole family to do, or just a couple, or even if you're by yourself and want something interesting. Always great to support Nebraska performing arts in small towns and communities. Do so as often as you can. Also, coming up on the 27th of February in Wood River, Nebraska, we're going to be at the Wood River Performing Arts Center Sunday afternoon at, I believe it is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If not, be sure to check our Facebook page, Kevin and Heidi Cheng, Cheng. We love to see you there, and we love to interact with people as well. We love to hear what you would like to hear. We are on this show often, and so receiving feedback is good for us so that we can form the next time we're on with your requests. So with that being said, here might be one of your possible requests. All right, fill in the blank, ladies and gentlemen, by the light of the silvery moon. Okay, well, maybe you're somebody like me and you like to collect just kind of local history. And so I have been reading up some on the Oregon Trail. Now, maybe you have fond memories of your honeymoon and you remember where you stayed. Maybe you've revisited that area for your anniversary. Well, this might be a honeymoon you would not want to revisit. So the Oregon Trail was an open door of opportunity for people to move and new life. Guess what kinds of people? That newlyweds. For some, their moon was to take a trip on the Oregon Trail. Imagine saying, "Hey, honey, how about for our honeymoon trip, we take a 2,000 or 3,000 mile trip on a covered wagon." I cannot imagine. A lot of people got married on the Oregon Trail too. Wow. So talk about a trip of a lifetime. That would have been it. Okay, just a little bit of history for your day. Now back to some old love music. Glad we don't have to ride on those covered wagons anymore. We can get places much faster, which enables us to come from Central City here to Norfolk to play for you. Here is probably the most popular love song. So if you are not eating any food, we would encourage you to sing along. Okay, so that is enduring in the year 1913. This one was composed, so it's been around for over 100 years. You are correct. Let me call you sweetheart. If you were to pick out any middle-aged person on the street, anywhere, it's circulated quite a lot. A great way to express love for another is through music. Well, music does not always require lyrics to share a message of love, and that is what these next illustrate. So there are many composers. This one was Saint-Saëns, and he wrote what's called the Carnival of the Animals. However, for some reason, he wasn't terribly proud of many of his animals, except for one known as can you guess it? The swan. Known to be very graceful and beautiful as a bird, this is what the music tries to express. Okay, so a good musical description and a very good romantic type piece. This is another one we play for weddings, and there's something about this music that just fits a scenario for a love story or an occasion that involves that. Now, some of these just portray the voice of the instrument, almost like it were singing. That's what attracted me to the violin, is that it was almost like a voice. It is the closest instrument to the human voice. And so to be able to share notes through that, it's almost like the violin is speaking its own words. Well, we're bringing you a serenade. A serenade is just a sweet piece of music, great for this time of night, as maybe you're thinking about tomorrow and its responsibilities. Well, don't worry about tomorrow. Just focus on relaxing and having a good night. So here's our part in it. Okay, that was Stanchion bringing you classical music that is very much of the romantic style. And we've enjoyed spending this time with you. Hope that we picked some of your favorites. That is what we love to do. If you're watching us on Facebook, would you mind to comment with any ideas, anything you would like to see us play? We're always taking suggestions for our YouTube videos. And that being said, check out Kevin and Heidi Cheng. Be sure to spell Cheng with an E, Cheng. Look us up on YouTube and Facebook. We have videos on YouTube. Please share them. We would love to come play for your church. We'd love to come play for your wedding, for your anniversary, any special occasion. We play music of all genres, as you might have heard if you have watched us. So, without further ado, here is one we had played at our wedding. It was at my grandmother's wedding, very special to us. One that I think will be an ever-enduring classical work. This is Clair de Lune by Debussy. right, known as Claire de Lune, ladies and gentlemen, and I do believe the composer was inspired by a scene from Switzerland. He saw the moon shining down on Lake Lucerne. I happen to have been there. Beautiful place for a love story to take place as well. This is chosen, or has been chosen, as a popular piece of classical music, as well as a selection for many weddings as well. Well, speaking of love, this is Franz Liszt, so you are going to see some incredible piano hands, as well as a romantic theme. It's called Love Dream. Enjoy.
Kevin and Heidi Cheng on quarantine tonight, folks. Thanks for coming out. I had a good time tonight. You guys killed it. I loved it. I love the love show. So where are you guys going to be next week? You guys have a few gigs?
We are going to be back here near Norfolk. We have lots of gigs. We're going to be at the Golden Husk in Ord this weekend. It's a performing arts center in central Nebraska. And we're going to be at Heartland Bible Church in Lincoln at 1 o'clock. You can come for lunch at 12 if you would like. And so there's quite a few places we are going to be at next week. Our Valentine's Day is full. We're going to be here in Norfolk on the 16th at the Meadows as well as the Heritage. So
fantastic.
Yes.
All right. Well, folks, we have a big week next week. We have the Kevin Koopman Trio joining us on Monday. So I had so much fun hosting this show this week. I'm coming back next week for Quarantine Tonight. Have a great night. We'll see you Monday night right here on News Channel Nebraska.